let's take a look at something that y'all have, but you can't see it very often unless you've had a bad accident. We're going to take a look at a bone. Yes, a normal skeletal bone found in people. Now, this is a small little square of one that's been cut, and it's been stained, so again, you can see things. This is bone, like an arm bone, a leg bone, you know, a humerus, a radius, the femur bone, a tibial bone, stuff like that. That's what you're looking at here with these bones, this section of bone. Now, right now, you can see, wow, this sort of looks like cheese or something. Let's go to a higher power and see the organization of this also. This is so cool. It just shouts the existence of an intelligence. So let's go to a higher magnification. This is 100 magnification. And let's bring it in. There we go. Notice the holes in here. That's what's called a Haversian Canal. The Haversian Canal is where blood vessels, the blood vessels have been removed here, and this has been stained, but the blood vessels, a vein, an arterial, a venule, veins and arteries, would be going through there. And also, in many of these, a nerve runs through that also. The big holes that you see there. But bone is a living tissue. Bone is a living tissue. It's made by cells that are called osteocytes. I'll show you where they live. We're going to go to a higher magnification, but notice, before I do that, the rings around those big holes, the Haversian canals, the big circular white areas, that's where the blood vessels and stuff were. Notice that these are in rings. This is showing a design again. This is not random, this is a design. But let's take a look at one of these rings and holes in the Haversian Canal at a higher power. So here we're going to go to 400 magnification. Oh my gosh, is this not cool? Bet you never thought your bones look like this. So again, you can see in the center, in some cases, these center things have something in them. It's the remains of the blood vessels and blood and stuff. But then there's rings. Then you'll see a whole pile, probably about 40 or 50, really little dark spots that are sort of hard to describe, sort of look like squished things. But they're definitely dark spots around them. Those are where you find the cells that make up the bone. Osteocytes live in those little caves, what they are. And that's where they live. It's called the lacuna, and they live inside of that. And now notice that there's a bunch of little faint lines going in and connecting between many of these lacuna. And there's a lot of little cracks, it looks like, all over, thousands and thousands of little cracks. And that's a way, too, that nourishment goes into this thing, into these bone cells, so that they can get the food and stuff to be able to make the bone. And that's what, if you break a bone, this is what you're replacing it with, new bone cells. They grow, and if you've ever broken a bone or shattered a bone, this is what is actually growing there, because this is what your skeleton is composed of. But again, don't you see an organized pattern to this? This shouts that there was a designer behind it. This shouts that there was a plan in putting this together. Even your skeleton, the bones of your skeleton, yes, that shows a plan, but even down to the cellular level, how they are put together, shouts of a plan, of a designer. And if there is a designer, there is an intelligence behind it. It's not random. There was thought behind it. To me, that's evidence that there is a God.